So the SBK Clarence House Chase, the big clashes on Jamie Lynch, rejoins us to look at Shishkin versus Energumene and maybe, in brackets, versus First Flow as well. Mustn't forget last year's winner. Jamie, it's all we wanted, really, isn't it? The head-to-head's on.
Yeah, that's right. And why is it such a special showdown? Why are we all so excited about Shishkin versus Energumene? I think it's the four A's that we're involved with here. Ability. Both of these are 170-plus chases already. And if you were to compile a list of the all-time great 2-mile chases, top 20, say, I think they both would already be in it. The second A is their affinity. Affinity means not just liking something, but a likeness to something. And it's actually their similarities, which is so interesting regards the mechanics of this particular duel. If you were to strip them apart, you'd find that the engine size, the chassis size, the gearbox, the transmission, it's very, very similar because both horses have shown that they can run fast and then keep running fast. Then it's the anticipation, that's the third A. This was due to happen last March, and here we are 10 months on. We have finally got that, but the anticipation is built ever since the Arkle. And then the fourth A is the arena. What better place than Ascot for such a showdown to take place? So, they are set. Battle lines are drawn, but we have to try and find the differences and not just the similarities in order to try and separate these two.
Yeah. Exactly. Shishkin then 6 from 6. There he is. Amongst other things, he has won in front of our cameras at Doncaster. Did so a year or so ago, didn't he? Nico de Bonville clearly thrilled with his victory. Then he's gone on to win the Arkle and then again at Aintree, tremendous. And back in business at Kempton over Christmas. Hard horse to find any fault with at all, isn't he?
So difficult to find fault lines because he's been in various different dimensions of races and come through every single one. So whether they go slow, he can run fast at the end, and whether they go hard, really hard, as Energumene will do to him at Ascot, he can still finish with a flourish. And if you were to give him a nickname, it might be Sprintior, because he feels like a combination of Sprinter Sacre and Altior. He's got the cruising speed of Sprinter Sacre and that finishing surge of Altior. So that's why he's been impossible to beat over fences so far, but he's never faced a horse like Energumene.
We gave Nicky Henderson a ring earlier today. Here's his thoughts on Shishkin, this wonderful, unbeaten chaser.
This time we are coming in with a race under our belt. He's quite considerably lighter weight-wise than he was at Kempton, which I think tells you that there was quite a lot of improvement to come. And Ascot should suit him. He jumped 5 fences this morning and seemed in great form. Nico's ridden him, he rode him work last Saturday, and that was all a big thumbs up. So here we go. And I mean, we come in hopefully with no excuses. It's going to be fascinating.
Yep, and that undersells it, doesn't it? It will indeed be fascinating at the very, very least. Shishkin then up against Energumene. Energumene 5 from 5, a brilliant winner at Punchestown at the festival there. Again, part of your job, Jamie, is to look for weaknesses, potential weaknesses. He has jumped right in the past, but maybe that's behind Willie's theory about sending him to Ascot, which should really play to his strengths.
Yeah, because Ascot, it rewards rhythm. We've seen that with the Ascot specialist, and he is almost the ultimate rhythm horse. He gets into that mechanical, merciless rhythm and breaks horses, good horses. On his reappearance, he decimated Grade 1 winner Notebook in the Hilly Way at Cork. Have a look at that and see where Notebook finishes and see where Energumene finishes, because Notebook had the temerity to go within the orbit of Energumene, but in that destructive way, he absolutely broke him. There's a row of fences at Ascot, 8, 9 and 10, which come up quickly, and they're at a critical part of the race. Who wins the race? We'll find that out at 3:40 or so. But where the race will be won, I think it's in that specific section where Energumene will pour it on, and can Shishkin live with him at that critical third quarter stage?
Yeah. I feel if Energumene wants to lead, and I think he probably will, then I don't think Shishkin will go chasing him early. And it will be just a question of whether Energumene can run the finish out of Shishkin.
And then we bring in the bit par players.
Yeah.
First Flow is much more than a bit par player. He's a Grade 1 winning chaser. But they will have a part to play in shaping the race as well. So that's why it's so critical that we've got two others in there alongside the big two.
Yeah, First Flow's really gallant, loves the soft ground, doesn't he, as well? So, you know, that's going to be a great race. And SBK, new sponsors as well, of course, of the race. Let's say a very good afternoon to Pascal Lemesre, who represents SBK. Welcome to you. Nice to see you. How are things?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, good to talk to you guys. Thanks very much for having me on.
It's great. Your sponsorship, of course, really, really welcome. Tell us about the worth of putting your name alongside such a great race.
Well, obviously, it's worked out probably as perfectly as it could have done in terms of, you know, Shishkin and Energumene both turning up. And yeah, this is our first sort of racing sponsorship for a couple of years. We did some in 2018 for our exchange brands markets, but SBK is a new sportsbook app that we've developed. And yeah, this is the sort of first race we've done, which we're really excited about. And we're doing that alongside some jockey sponsorships and trainer things like that as well.
Well, I hope you have a great weekend, Pascal. But of course, drilling down to what really matters for punters, the sort of prices that are going to be on offer. So many people will find these two great horses hard to split. They'll both have their legion of supporters behind them. But what does the market tell us?
Well, yeah, I think, you know, during the week, Shishkin has been favourite, and that's still the case odds on. And I think since the decks were made today, like Energumene is the one that's seen a little bit of money, not too much, but definitely sort of has shortened into about around 13 to 8. And then, yeah, First Flow around 11 to 1 and Amula Gold sort of the outside of the field. But it looks, you know, a brilliant race. Even First Flow obviously won the race last year. So I think it could be a fantastic event. And just hopefully, you know, they all still turn up and are there on Saturday.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they will. We just don't want the frost to spoil anybody's party. Pascal, will you be at Ascot yourself?
I will be, yeah. Can't wait for it. It's going to be a brilliant day. And, you know, we've got the big race, but then we've also got others with some of our SBK ambassadors riding. So it's a huge day for us as a sort of brand and a company. We really can't wait. Brilliant
as well. You also sponsor the Mayor's Hurdle on the card, don't you? We're going to look at that in just a second.
Yes, we do, yeah. And this is a race. We're maybe just as excited about this one as the Clarence House, to be honest, because we have sort of Tom Bellamy, one of our SBK ambassadors. He's riding Western Victory, who is the Antipodes favourite for this race. And then Paige Fuller, another one of our ambassadors. She's on Anything for Love, who is a horse she's had a great relationship with. I think it gave her first Grade 2 winner around February last year. So, yeah, it'd be amazing if, you know, one of those two can cross the line in front, and we'll see the SBK, you know, logo crossing the line on both the sort of jockeys and in the background as well.
Tremendous. I can see you, Pascal, you're thinking of the dream scenario at every stage, aren't you, of Saturday?
Exactly, yeah. No, it is a huge day for us. You know, the main race working out the way it has is fantastic, but, you know, the other sort of 5 races we're sponsoring as well. It looks like this would be some really good storylines, and yeah, we really can't wait. Yeah, and you've got a really good handicap hurdle on the card as well, 2.5 miles. Gary Claremont got some strong course form. Is he going to be your favourite, do you think? It certainly looks that way in the early market. It looks very tight, to be honest, at the top of the market. I think the one I was keeping an eye out was Unexpected Party for, you know, Dan and Harry Skelton in handicap hurdles. You always got to look out for them. But likewise with this race as well, we've got sort of Tom and Paige both riding on Cateson and Scandiberg. So again, we'll be sort of hoping one of those two can cross the line first. Tremendous. You've set things up beautifully for a great day. So come on then, Pascal. Are you Shishkin or Energumene or First Flow? Or in your role at SBK, you're not allowed to express a preference? Oh, I definitely can. I think I would definitely sort of lean towards Shishkin, which I know is the sort of boring, obvious answer. But I remember sort of watching, I think, one of his very first races, and I can't remember, it was a podcast at the time I was listening to, and they flagged Shishkin up as a potential superstar. And ever since then, I've followed him, and he's always done it, you know, quite easily, hasn't he, in his races? So I think you'd have to lean Shishkin, but it should be a fantastic race. Pascal, you seem well up for it. Thanks for joining us today on Sky Sports Racing. Cheers, guys. All the very best. Pascal Lemesre there from SBK, the big race sponsors. But as we discussed there, Jamie, not all about their sponsorship of the big one, the Clarence House. Cracking little Mayor's Hurdle on the card too. Grade 2 Warfield Hurdle featuring the connections of last year's winner. Ross Garner won it last year for Team Skelton, and Mayfield Molly's Ollie's Wishes. In this one, we saw that she was third favourite with SBK, but has she got the strongest form? I would perhaps suggest so, given the way that she ended last season and started this one. So this is a real high-flying mare. Molly's Ollie's Wishes, 3-1 behind My Sister Sarah and Western Victory. But in terms of CV,
I'm not sure that anything can match Molly Ollie's wishes. This is her taking on the boys, and what boys she's taking on. This was the National Spirit of Fontwell at the end of last season, John. McFabulous is the odds-on favourite, and on the near side, Brewing Up a Storm. Naturally, those are probably Grade 1 class hurdlers, and she can't quite live with those, but this was just the latest in a series of developments by her, and she looked even better when she reappeared at Wetherby. Yeah. Forgive her last time. She was in the Coral Hurdle at Ascot, again taking on some of the best male hurdlers around, principally Buzz, but she's back in her own company, and I suspect that of all the races in this calendar season, this is the one that will have been ring-fenced for her.
She made the running there at Fontwell and brushed aside eventually by two very good horses. At Wetherby, she was really dominant. She took it up a fair way from home and seemed to love that, Jamie.
Yeah, because it's almost, we mentioned Roxana. Roxana was more last to first on the bridle, whereas Molly Ollie's Wishes, far more proactive in the way she goes about things, and that is a good policy and a good strategy for Ascot. So, Molly Ollie Wishes, 3-1. That's a big price for a horse with her ability.
Yep. And we can have a look as well at other supporting races on that particular card. Great day's racing. The Bet365 handicap chase. Earlier on today, Nicky Henderson said that he wouldn't be running Fusil Raffles. Probably going to wait for Doncaster the week after the Sky Bet chase. But still, it promises to be a tremendous race. Palmer's Hill is in great form this year.
Yeah, so Palmer's Hill, the last Ascot meeting, John Joe Neal Jr. had a brilliant time. Big double on Champ and Palmer's Hill. Night in Dubai is also coming again, but with Palmer's Hill, this is patience paying off. They've had to tread carefully with him. They've had to bring him along gradually, but as you said, John, this is his coming of age season, and so impressive at the end of this Ascot race in midwinter to get on top. Now, being an Ascot specialist is something that has served various horses well over the years, and he has that look about him, the way he travels and the way he finishes. Palmer's Hill, of course, he's up in the weights, but that was a mightily impressive run over this course and distance.
Fanion d'Estrival for Venetia Williams as well. She's got a busy weekend, Venetia. Fancied runners everywhere. That's another very interesting contender as well. Just chatting with Pascal, the sponsors there of the SBK Handicap Hurdle at 145. I mentioned Gary Claremont, I thought would be the natural favourite, but not with their list. He was as big as 6-1.
Yeah, and you mentioned the strength of his form, and that's exactly the point with Gary Claremont. Yes, unexpected party. Still something of a dark horse for the Skeltons, and certainly get the impression there is more ability to be drawn out of him. But Gary Claremont, if you want proven form, and indeed course form, this is especially strong. So this was the high-end handicap over 2 miles here in mid-December, and runs really well, John, against Tritonic. Tritonic, ex-flat horse, who's got loads of speed, and the finishing speed was evident, but look at how Gary Claremont keeps going.
Yep.
And I just get the impression with him that the extra distance of this race will suit him perfectly. Looks like he was going to finish 10 length third. In the end, he's rallying by the end. So that's a horse who was on the up this season, and you get the impression with him that going back up in trip is just a ticket.
Last time he ran over it, he won really well at Warwick.
Yeah.
Like him a lot, Gary Claremont. So hopefully that's set you up for a great weekend at Ascot, the feature being the Clarence House. Someone's going to come through and win it. On Saturday, is it going to be Shishkin? Is it going to be Energumene? Can First Flow possibly win it again? Which way would you want to jump, Jamie, if you had to? If I held your feet to the flames, so to speak.
Shishkin has done things that I've rarely seen any horse be able to do, especially the audition in the Arkle, where they went at such a strong pace and he still sauntered clear. So I think that he is the one horse in training who has got the armoury to deal with the high-powered Energumene.
And I think Energumene is the one horse in training who can put Shishkin under real pressure and sustain that pressure.
And that's why it's such a special showdown.
A special race here on Sky Sports Racing on Saturday afternoon.